Namaste students, this is Dr. Suman Ahuja, Assistant Professor, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Faculty of Ayurvedic Science. Today I am going to throw light on a very important topic, that is osteomyelitis. So let me share a presentation for you. Osteomyelitis, the primary sites of infection are bone and bone marrow. So as the name suggests, osteo means bone and myel means bone marrow, and item is inflammation. So inflammation is basically because of the infection in bone and bone marrow. So the primary sites of infection are bone and bone marrow. Any part of the bone may be involved, but there is preferential targeting of the juxta epiphyseal region near to epiphyseal, that is epiphysis, that is juxtaepiphyseal regions of long bones adjacent to joints. The risk of osteomyelitis increases with age. The incidence is about 8.8 cases per 1 lakh person year in those under 18, rising to 40.8 cases in those aged 60 to 69 and 88.3 cases in those above the age of 80. So we see the pathogenesis, hematogenous spread, that is spread through blood, is the most common cause in children, but contiguous spread of infection from adjacent soft tissues or as a result of surgery is more important in adults. Diabetes is a very important risk factor, accounting for about 30% of cases in a recent series. Other risk factors include immunosuppressive therapy, HIV infection, and sickle cell disease, which particularly increases the risk of salmonella infection. The organisms most frequently implicated are Staphylococcus aureus, Staphylococcus epidermidis, and Streptococci. The infection often results in a florid inflammatory response with a greatly increased intraosseous pressure. If untreated, the condition may cause localized areas of osteonecrosis. So first is the inflammatory response. If condition remains untreated, then localized areas of osteonecrosis takes place, and that leads to the development of a fragment of necrotic bone that is called as sequestrum. Eventual perforation of the cortex by pus stimulate local new bone formation that is called as involucrum in the periosteum, often leading to the development of sinuses that discharge through the skin. So this diagram shows the initial infection. There is the initial site of infection. Just see that is near to the joint, near to the epiphysis. That's why it is called as the juxta epiphyseal origin. So as the infection advances, there is blood supply blockage and there is a formation of subperiosteal abscess, that is pus formation below periosteum. So because of this, this causes the dead bone, and because of this dead bone is called as sequestrum, and the elevation of periosteum and there is new bone formation, then it is called as involucrum, though this is shown in the second stage. So first stage is initial infection. First stage is this formation of abscess, and the second stage is the formation of involucrum and sequestrum. So in clinical features, it presents as a localized bone pain and tenderness, and often accompanied by malaise, night sweats, and pyrexia. The adjacent joint may be painful to move and may develop a sterile effusion or secondary septic arthritis. And the investigations, patients suspected of having osteomyelitis should have an MRI to confirm the diagnosis, which is more sensitive than X-ray for detecting early changes. Where possible, cultures should be obtained by open or imaging guided biopsy of the lesion. Evidence of osteopenia, localized osteolysis, and osteonecrosis may be seen on X-ray. Blood cultures should be taken, which may also reveal the causative organism. Routine bloods typically show evidence of an acute phase response with a neutrophilia and raised ESR and C reactive protein. So raised erythrocyte sedimentation rate and C reactive protein. So these are the routine blood investigation responses. So this is the figure, this is the X-ray view of the osteomyelitis. You can see there is a blackish appearance of the part which is getting this osteomyelitis. So now management of the osteomyelitis is early recognition is critical, as once osteomyelitis become established and chronic, it may prove very hard to eradicate with antibiotics alone. So the principles are those followed for the septic arthritis, with parenteral antibiotics for 2 weeks, followed by oral antibiotics for at least 4 weeks. An exception is in localized osteomyelitis of toes and fingers, which can often be treated successfully with a prolonged course of oral antibiotics. Resection of the infected bone and subsequent reconstruction may be required. Complication of chronic osteomyelitis includes secondary amyloidosis and skin malignancy at the margin of a discharging sinus, that is also called as Marjolin's ulcers. So this was all about osteomyelitis, very important disease, because if it is left untreated, then it can lead to the amputation of that particular part. So it should be promptly diagnosed and promptly treated. So thank you so much. I hope you are satisfied with the session, and this session was powered by digital version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. If there is any doubt, any questions, please write in the comment box and that will be resolved. Thank you so much.